On August 6, 1945, the city of Hiroshima was obliterated in an instant. 3 days later, Nagasaki met a similar fate. Together, the two atomic bombings marked a turning point in human history. But within that destruction lies a nearly unbelievable story. One man, Tsutomu Yamaguchi, survived both nuclear blasts, and perhaps even more astonishing, he went to work the very next day. This is not a myth or urban legend. His story is documented in official records, eyewitness accounts, and verified by the Japanese government. How did he survive the deadliest weapons ever used in war? Why did he return to work amidst the chaos? And what does his life tell us about human resilience and the limits of survival? Tsutomu Yamaguchi was a 29-year-old naval engineer working for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries in 1945. He was in Hiroshima on a business trip, helping design oil tankers. On August 6th, he was preparing to leave the city and return home to Nagasaki. But fate had other plans. At 8:15 a.m., as Yamaguchi walked toward the shipyard, the sky above him lit up with an intense flash. The American B-29 bomber Enola Gay had just dropped Little Boy, the world's first deployed atomic bomb. Yamaguchi was about 2 miles from ground zero. Yamaguchi described seeing a blinding white light and being hurled into a nearby potato field. The blast ruptured his eardrums, burned the left side of his body, and temporarily blinded him. He managed to crawl to shelter and later stumbled through the ruins of Hiroshima, witnessing hell on earth, charred bodies, collapsed buildings, and a sky filled with ash. Despite his injuries, he spent the night in a shelter and somehow found his way to the train station the next morning. Amazingly, the train to Nagasaki was still operating. Yamaguchi arrived in Nagasaki on August 8th, battered and bandaged. He checked into a hospital and tried to recover. But on August 9th, he reported back to work at Mitsubishi, determined to inform his supervisors about the terrible new weapon he had witnessed. As he tried to explain what had happened in Hiroshima, the air raid sirens rang out. At 11:02 a.m., the second atomic bomb, nicknamed Fat Man, was dropped over Nagasaki. Once again, Yamaguchi was within 2 miles of the blast's epicenter. This time, he was inside a reinforced building which shielded him from the worst of the explosion. Still, the pressure wave blew out the windows, and he was thrown to the ground. Somehow, again, he survived. After the second bombing, Yamaguchi's injuries worsened. His wounds became infected. He lost all his hair, and he drifted in and out of consciousness for weeks. But he lived. His wife and infant son also survived the Nagasaki blast, thanks to a last-minute decision to seek shelter in a concrete basement. The family, though physically and emotionally scarred, endured. Over the following years, Yamaguchi recovered and returned to a modest life. He worked for Mitsubishi until retirement and raised his family quietly. For decades, he avoided speaking publicly about what he had lived through. In the years after the war, Japan began issuing survivor certificates known as Hibakusha IDs. These provided medical support to victims of the atomic bombings. Yamaguchi initially received recognition only as a Nagasaki survivor. It wasn't until 2009, over 60 years later, that the Japanese government officially recognized him as a Niju Hibakusha, a person who survived both bombings. He is the only individual to receive this designation with full government verification. Later in life, Yamaguchi began speaking out against nuclear weapons. In 2006, he addressed the United Nations, urging the abolition of nuclear arms. He used his personal experience not for fame, but as a warning. How did Yamaguchi survive not one but two atomic blasts? Location played a major role. In Hiroshima, being 2 miles from ground zero put him outside the instant death zone. Debris, terrain, and sheer luck helped reduce his exposure. In Nagasaki, his position inside a reinforced structure likely saved his life. According to studies by the Radiation Effects Research Foundation, survivors beyond 1.5 to 2 miles from ground zero had significantly higher survival rates, though they still faced long-term health risks. Yamaguchi also benefited from receiving early treatment and being relatively young and healthy at the time. His case has been studied by scientists and historians to understand radiation effects and survival factors. Yamaguchi lived to the age of 93. He passed away in 2010 from stomach cancer, a condition linked to radiation exposure, though he outlived many expectations. In Japan, he became a symbol of resilience. Internationally, his story is both inspiring and haunting, a man who lived through the unthinkable twice. He once said, "The reason that I hate the atomic bomb is because of what it does to the dignity of human beings."